that's only one component of this. I mean, absolutely. Whoever just said that, maybe it was Gary. That's one problem. But why make so many other problems around it that Ronaldo spoke about, and I spoke about, Gary spoke about? I mean, the security thing is one issue, and Trump has to do that. Everyone should pay their price. Everyone should pay their price. Absolutely.
And it's never ending goalposts. The goalposts change. It's fentanyl first. We fix that problem, or we put the money towards one, and then the goalposts change. Every week there's another problem. Come on.
I don't think fentanyl was really ever in a problem. I think that was all Ottawa's form over substance in order to appease our president. I don't think that fentanyl. I mean, I know some of the Customs and Border Patrol folks in Detroit from my days of reporting there, and that's never been a major problem. Cigarettes across the border sometimes were a problem, but not to say there wasn't a component of drugs going one way or the other. Of course there was, but not to the degree that the president claimed that it was. It's now 5:52. We normally don't accept people after 5:55, but we have a full stage. So at this point, moderators, we're not going to accept anybody else on the stage, but we will go into extra time in hopes of getting everybody an opportunity to speak. Let's see whether we're successful or not. Andre, followed by BT.
Hey, Gary. So, I'm sort of going to echo somewhat what Norm was saying, but from a little bit of a different angle. In a perfect world, we all would be gentlemen and ladies who say thank you and please and, never hurt a fly. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. And while I acknowledge that there are concerns, and listen, I also would not push back against the fact that he is a coarse individual, that he is despicable in the way, in his mannerisms and how he says things and what he says and to whom he says and what kind of timing he has. That's not up for debate at this point. But once again, I would urge people to stop over-focusing on the rhetoric and words that come out of his mouth and more look into the perhaps motivations and the consequences of what he's doing. Now, Canada has been increasing its relationships with China economically, which is concerning for the United States for several reasons, not only that it cuts into, the American pie, but also that China had been using a lot of different countries as a backdoor into American economy while reaping all the benefits of maritime rule that the United States upholds and pays for with its military, while absolutely not being a faithful partner in the relationship to human suffering, and it's a single party state. It's a repressive state. It's not willing to change its political policies or allow people to live in a free and open society, while at the same time stealing technologies, engaging in espionage. There's tons of stories about the open cells have been opened with the Chinese government involvement. So I don't think I'm going to be telling any new information to anyone on the stage. Unfortunately, it came to the situation where the tariffs was the only feasible weapon, in my opinion, to curb that enthusiasm from China.
Are you talking about tariffs against Canada?
I'm talking about tariffs against everybody. Like one of the reasons.
But we're talking about Canada today.
Yes, but Canada is part of the world. I mean, it's part of the world.
I understand that, but you're saying, so I'm trying to understand your point. I'm not arguing with you.
Sure.
Okay, so is your point that tariffs against Canada were necessary to retard their growing relationship with China?
Not only, but I think it was in order to prevent China using Canada and other countries as a backdoor into the United States economy, while the United States was focusing on its economic war with China. So China is a primary target. Canada is, I would say, in this battle is a secondary. Is a
So
secondary.
you see China, you see Canada as a threat to our economy in the same manner in which you.
That's not what I said. Here, I'm saying it's a consequence, right? Because Canada was a potential channel for China for like to use it as economically as a backdoor.
Right. So let me ask you a question about your concerns about whatever Canada's relationship is with China, which Ronaldo and Rob could speak to with authority that I lack. If that's of concern to you, Andre, in November, the United States and China struck a formal trade and economic deal. It eased tariffs, addressed export concerns. It's talked about critical minerals, et cetera. Basically, it was an effort by the United States to stabilize and deepen economic engagement with China. So, every country operates in its best interest first. What's the difference between us? China's a huge trading partner with the United States, as is Canada. I don't understand your argument, and I'd like you to maybe explain it so that the weak understanding person, as I am, I miss the point entirely.
Well, let's not denigrate you, Gary. I'm saying that the United States has always been in sort of locked in a struggle against China. There are two big targets, right? Two large geopolitical adversaries for the United States. It's Soviet Union and Russian Federation presently, and China. Presently, China is much bigger threat to the United States economically than Russian Federation. That's why the focus is on China.
Okay, I don't think you're answering my question. I'm going to cut you off. For two reasons. One, I don't understand your point, which I interrupted you to give you an opportunity to explain to at least my satisfaction that I understood you. And secondly, because we have a huge stage. Ronaldo, you were trying to.
Yeah, I've got a hard stop at 6 o'clock, unfortunately, but I know my friend Rob Katzman will continue. I think I just want everyone to understand. A year ago, Canada matched the United States' tariff on Chinese automobiles at 100%. So we followed in suit with our friend, our next door neighbor, who what we felt was right to protect our automotive industry. Since then, we have not chosen to go and work with China.
My friend.
We have been pushed in that direction. Now, mind you,
My
when
friend.
we talk about I think it's 50,000
Hello?
Chinese-made vehicles that are going to be allowed in our country this year.
Hello?
Remember, it's most likely all 50,000, or the majority of those 50,000 Chinese vehicles that are made in China that will be allowed into our country, most likely 95% of those will be Teslas that are manufactured in China. So this whole thing just seems.
All right, this is John Kitover News Incorporated. Thanks for coming. This is journalism by John Kitover.
Right, and I hope that cooler heads prevail, and I hope that somehow at the end of the rainbow, there is a method to the madness of President Trump to where he sees a finish line that not only works for his people, but works for our too. But at this point in time, I just don't see it. It seems like chaos to me. And I appreciate everyone with their opinions, but so far all I've heard, it sounds good, but none of it is factually true. So I'm so glad that Rob is here to carry on the conversation. I am so sorry that I have to go because I got a hard stop at 6. I've got another meeting I gotta walk into. But thank you very much for having me. And
No, we thank you, Ronaldo. And when I'm in town, in minutes, you and Larry and Rob and I get together and we'll break bread on one side of the border or the other, or maybe one day
Illinois,
to show our solidarity.
That would be wonderful. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you for joining us. Thank you, Ronaldo. And Rob, I appreciate you sticking around. And again, to the previous caller, I just have to move along, and maybe somebody else understands the point that he was making. Or what he can maybe do is go to the chat, which is linked above, and explain it in terms that I understand. I just don't get the point, frankly. BT followed by Andrew. I wasn't arguing the point. I don't understand it. BT followed by Andrew.
Hey, thank you, Gary. Appreciate the room and the space. Thanks for running it, to you and your moderators. Thank you to the panel for participating. Most importantly, thank you to the audience for listening, because without you all, we just be up here talking to each other. That being said, when I read the title, is the U.S. long-standing relationship with Canada at risk? I don't think I wouldn't call it at risk, but I would say the relationship as we know it, or as we knew it, has been at risk. And I was saying in the black community, it's called get down or lay down. And as you can see, I think that's what Trump is operating on. I don't have to elaborate. I think you all can read the line. And Canada has too long been sucking on mama's milk. And I think them just ain't playing that no more. They're saying, hey, we got to make this mutually beneficial a little more, because we all know by Canada's proxy and location geographically to us, they have received not only some benefits, but some less people messing with them, especially considering they have such a small population. That being said, I don't know what Trump wants with them. I don't know if it's resources or just the landmass. I don't know the end game. But what I do know is that when we talk about getting down or laying down, people have to acquiesce to what we want, because we're doing what I like to call American history right now, where you can see we're going all over the world and bullying. And it just so happens now we're bullying our next door neighbor. And you're going to have to just deal with it. Unfortunately, as harsh as that sounds, that's where we are as a country. Again, I don't know why he's picking on y'all, but it is what it is. We're going to support him, and y'all are going to have to deal with it, because you're not powerful enough to compete with us. So, yeah, just take it, and just shut up and take it, essentially.
I'm sure that Rob, if he expresses his feelings on that, will be attacked, maybe in the chat, for expressing his feelings. But Rob, what do you feel about what BT just said? That was really interesting.
I don't think it, Gary. I don't think it's a disconnected thought. There's just ways to do things, and the processes that you accomplish things have to be taken seriously. The other Norman talking about security concerns, he's absolutely right. But Canada has held up. Canada has done their share in so many ways. And sure, you negotiate, and sure, Trump's motivation of trying to get a better deal for the country, I honor him in that respect. But doing it the right way and doing it the fair way, not doing it to hurt. It's almost, he does it on the pretense of America first. America became great because they never just looked at themselves. They looked at what they could contribute. Think about, bring it down to just people. You know, they became the biggest and the best and the wealthiest by giving, by being the leader. And by being the leader gave them also the opportunities in all these other countries. How many Americans own assets in South America, in Asia, in Western Europe, and Eastern Europe? Why? Because the U.S. was the leader, it helped business people from a commercial context realize opportunities in these countries. So, I mean, yes, absolutely. I understand understand what I'm saying, but you can't. I think it's irresponsible to just say Canada has to take it on the chin like that in such a manner. Gary, as you said, as you articulated, there's different ways to do it. You sit down properly, and that's when real meaningful decisions are made. When there's two trusting partners at place. Canada has not, I'll use a slang expression, ripped off these. If you look at their trade, if you look at what they've done, they just haven't. So, and again, I want to reiterate, Canada still was or is the U.S.'s biggest customer. We paid our bill. We got a good history. We have a good history. And I frankly, I respect every person's opinion, but I can't align with that last gentleman's approach to it. Canada's just not going to, when he uses the word unfortunately, Canada just has to take I'll use the expression, the ass whooping. It just doesn't. And it won't. You're dealing with a real proud people. So, what Ronaldo said about, I understand this whole China thing, but they're not doing a trade deal with China, by the way. It just has to do with mostly electric cars. It's not interrupting